In this video, we are gonna be testing cheap markers versus expensive markers and see just how they are gonna be comparing to each other.
But before we can actually get to use the markers, we first need to create a drawing to use them on. So let's get to work.
So let's tape up the paper and start drawing right away. And for this video I want to draw something really fun. So what I thought of is Super Saiyan 4 Goku, but when you hear Super Saiyan 4 you probably think of the Super Saiyan 4 from Dragon Ball GT. But recently Super Saiyan 4 has been made canon in Dragonball Daima. I can't believe we actually got a canon Super Saiyan 4. And the best thing is that this is actually a design originally made by Akira Toriyama. I personally still prefer the old design, but what are your thoughts on this? Which one do you like more, the old or the new one? Also, you should really stay till the end because the results are gonna blow your mind. Anyways, here's the finished sketch, and next up we are of course gonna be lining everything. I personally really like to slightly erase my sketches before lining them, since that way you won't have too much graphite from your pencils getting in the way of your satisfying lining. On this drawing I tried to stay true to the original design of the Super Saiyan 4 from Dragonball Daima. You can especially see that on the eyes, which I usually make rather sharp. I especially had so much fun lining the fur, since here I could go really rough with my lining. And then on the hair I went really smooth. At least I tried to. Anyways, now that the lining is done, we can finally start coloring. I decided to start with the cheap markers, but first, let me take you on the story of how I even got these cheap markers in the first place. So, it was a really nice and sunny day here, and... actually, just kidding, it's cold as f in Germany. Anyways, I was taking a stroll to the local supermarket of my choice to, as usually, get a caffeinated beverage. But then when walking around, I stumbled upon these really cheap markers in that one aisle where they always have the most random stuff. So I thought, why not get them? And that takes us right back to where we were. So let's unbox these markers and have a look at them. But before I start coloring with these markers, I want to get a bit of an order in here. So I started ordering them and began with the rather warm colors and then worked my way through to the more colder colors. Then I thought it would be a great idea to create a swatch card for these markers to see how they actually look like on paper. This way it becomes a lot easier to pick out the right colors for my drawing, and creating swatch cards is just something I can highly recommend doing in general, since even when using expensive markers, the color on the caps can vary from the color you will actually have on the paper. Anyways, now that I have swatched out all of the colors, it's time to pick out all the colors for the actual drawing. I split this up into the categories skin, fur, hair and pants. And honestly, especially on the skin, I just picked out any colors I could at all, since there was really only one color combination that would work at all. Then for the fur, I tried to pick out more pinkish colors with a dark purple for the darkest shading tone, since I want to have the hair look more red than pink. And for the pants, I just picked a random brown and orange. Now I do realize the colors I picked aren't really accurate to the reference, but I had to work with the limited color range I had and make the best of it. Now here's the colors we ended up with, and now it's time to get to coloring. So let's go! Now my approach for coloring the skin was to build up some layers, starting with the lightest color and then using the darker colors after that. Also the spots that I wanted to be highlighted I just left out, so they would just be straight white. For the hair, I pretty much just followed the very same approach, starting with the lightest color and leaving out some spots for the highlights, and then I just built up the layers by using the darker colors after that. I would have really loved to blend these markers, but I tried that out before and let's just say that didn't really work out too well. Bruh. So I just stuck with some simple cell shading just to make it not too complicated. Then for the fur, I once again used the same approach, but this time I didn't leave out any spots for the highlights because I thought it would look kind of weird on the fur. And I also gotta say, I think the markers left a kind of nice texture to the drawing, which actually kind of works with the fur. Anyways, here's the result for the cheap markers, and considering the super low price point, in my opinion this drawing turned out really amazing. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments. And now it's finally time for the expensive markers, and I really can't wait to see how it's gonna turn out. So here are the expensive markers. Let's also tape up the drawing, but wait. Actually, we still have to do some prep time to pick out the right colors for this drawing. I again split this up into the same categories, but this time things are gonna go a lot easier since I know my Ohuhu markers in and out. Additionally, I have drawn Super Saiyan 4 Goku from Dragonball Daima not once, but twice. So I pretty much already know the exact colors I wanna be using, and all that's left to do is just picking them out. So here's all the colors I'm gonna be using, and let's go! I'm really happy that I could pick some colors that actually match the colors from the show, and it's also really nice that I'm finally able to blend the colors. My approach with these markers was to first use the darker markers and then build up some layers by transitioning to the lighter colors. Anyways, here's the final result. I truly believe both sides look really amazing, and the cheap markers actually did a lot better of a job than I initially thought they could. Now, I think it was pretty obvious from the start that the expensive marker side would look a lot better than the cheap side, but we gotta give credit where credit is due, and considering the extremely cheap price point with these markers right here, the results we got right here are actually really good. So, if you're really on a budget and still wanna use some colors on your drawings, I think these markers right here couldn't really hurt, so just go for them. But if art is something you truly, and I mean genuinely enjoy, I think it couldn't hurt to spend a little more money on your art supplies. Also, I don't really have any use for these markers anymore, so I think I'll just give them away to a kindergarten. So, let's go! Alright guys, so I'm at the kindergarten now, and I'm now giving away the markers. Anyways. Oh yeah, and please subscribe so I can give away more stuff.